Welcome boys and girls for some more Kenshi Let's Struggle. I'm glad to be back. It's Cool Kid Croc here. So today I'm continuing what we were doing last time. Essentially I wanted to get to the Great Desert, but we were stopped in our tracks over at the Deadlands. The leviathan over there, the mech leviathan, fucked us up bad. So in the previous episode, it was mostly spent recovering from that, trying to find new research and searching the lands for some new recruits. Now we would be able to find some energy crystals, AI cores, weapons, and many other things that would help us against the leviathan, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough. Even with Larold and Implord, the mech leviathan was just way too strong for the group. After numerous attempts, I decided we just had to get stronger, so Harold would take his group of men back to Fort Harold, unfortunately without claiming the mech leviathan's life. But that's what we're going to do in this episode. So welcome everyone. Starting off, I decided to go into that little Y building that we built a few episodes ago, and I wanted to put some lights down in here. Reason for that is I'm getting advanced fighting training done, as well as we're going to get some guns, new workbenches for weapons and equipment, and higher grades. Operations at Fort Harold are going pretty, well, normal I guess. We're getting raided by about every single faction, but on the bright side we're at least getting through our research. Now, I decided I want to get Harold's stats a little bit up too. Now, even though we're going to have guns, they work under the crossbow class, and none of my people have really good crossbow skills. We have a few that we recruited, but no one's organically grown crossbow skills. So, instead of organically growing the crossbow skills, with a mod advanced training, I'm able to put in these turrets to work on. These will get our people up to level 70 each for each skill, so I'm putting down 5 for perception, 5 for precision shooting, and then 5 for crossbows. With that, I also wanted to set up a little bit of dodge training and just some other stuff in here, but for now, it looked pretty good. I mainly wanted to have about 15 people ready to use guns against the mech leviathan if we need. Meanwhile, I decided I wanted to finally get Harold into a new weapon class. This would be unarmed. I wanted Harold to become, seeing as he has some great limbs on him and should do a lot more damage with martial arts, it's just a good idea to make him one, and it'll probably improve him overall. So using 9 that we kidnapped from the Ashlands dome in the last episode, I would use him to train Harold's stats up. Now we don't get much melee attack, but we do get dodge and martial arts skill. So now it was just up to Harold and 9 to learn. So now it was just up to 9 to teach Harold how exactly to fight. 9 would have trading binds as well, so they wouldn't do any damage to each other during this time. This meant I could go around to the base, focusing on everyone else, so I would use 5 units at a time to go on each crossbow skill, and then once they're around 40 or 50, my plan is just to swap them out. Just to show you guys a little bit of a struggle that I have to go through just to play this game, Larold got stuck. Like, the Leviathans have god-awful pathfinding. Never get one. This shit is horrible, man. I fucking hate it. But on the bright side, things at Fort Harold were looking pretty good. I mean, we had everybody training up crossbow skills for the first time. And since Harold was doing research, I decided to send one of her units for Nanny over to Brink to see what was going on over there. Now, it is actually claimed by the Hairy Young Empire. Woohoo! Clap, clap, clap! After like 2 fucking episodes. I don't know what I did to fix it, but it just fixed itself. So now we can build inside of Brink, we can edit it, we can live in it, do whatever the fuck we want. Pretty damn cool. But on the other side, I mean, it's Brink. What the fuck is there in Brink? Like, dude, this place kind of sucks ass, to be honest. There isn't like a ton of good shit here, and until the shopkeepers and other people arrive, there's just fuck all to do. So I wouldn't be making a full switch over to Brink just right away. I'll be sending Fernanny back, but at least once the news got back to Fort Harold, they would know that their victory was successful and not just a fluke to double their fucking population. I switched out Chun-Li with Harold so she could train up her martial artist. Meanwhile, Harold would research. I figured it'd be better off just to give it gun technology and everything else researched and done first. Now, the only downside to Chun-Li is that she doesn't have robotic limbs yet. Every time she hits, she's taking damage. But luckily, with the training binds, I could actually just get her to heal up and then go to sleep like peacefully, and it wouldn't fuck her up too bad. After this is when we got the gun technology researched. So the guns have their own unique sort of workbench, as well as ammo storage and storage for guns. You can put the guns in weapon cabinets, but you can also make specific gun cabinets. Now, in order to make the guns and ammo, you do require a few things. I needed steel bars now, and it turns out I don't actually have a steel refinery running at Fort Harold yet, so I had to set up one. Not too hard though, and I got that done pretty fast. Meanwhile, progress for Chun-Li was going pretty well, and the things we were trying to get researched were all coming through. Now, when trying to craft all the ammo and guns, we can do it, but the only downside is that we need fuel. The godforsaken thing I haven't touched in 400 hours of Kenshi. The only drawback to being able to build guns, so I finally figured out fuel. It honestly isn't that hard. You put down a processor of a plant, and then the plant turns into fuel. I don't know. Maybe I'm just fucking mind dragged, or like I think everything in this game is a bitch because most things are. But I was able to set that up at least for the first time, so woohoo. Let's see, 459 hours in and I finally figured it out. Along with that too, we were on day 152 and we were about at 500,000 cats, so things were looking pretty nice. I didn't have to worry too much about micromanaging what we were crafting and other stuff like that since we have a lot of money. Mainly I'm just trying to get everybody trained up and figure out a way to optimize this hellhole. Now I had Zitzo and Sind, our weaponsmiths, on the gunsmiths. Unfortunately, I figured out the gunsmiths actually use a unique skill called crossbow smithing. I didn't see this either in my entire time playing. I've probably seen it, but I've never used it as we've never used crossbows before. So this is a brand new skill I have to train up straight from scratch. With our skills a little bit up and the guns doing a lot better than crossbows, it shouldn't be too much of a worry if we make a few prototypes. Meanwhile, Harold was doing pretty good against 9. He got his dodge up to 92 and his martial arts skill up to 71. He was starting to learn a lot more cool moves. Honestly, martial arts is one of the 6 skills in Kenshi. You can just pull off some stupid cool shit. Meanwhile, 15 of Harold's men would be training in the crossbow building, getting all of their skills up so that they could use the guns we're making. Now that it had been a few days, we had finally started to craft our first guns. Sniper rifle, a submachine gun, as well as assault rifles on the way. Things at Fort Harold were looking pretty bright. Harold was getting a lot of training in for his martial arts against 9 and learning how to do 6 spinning kick moves. Amazing to see him pull off. Along with the dodge skill, it's going to help him a lot in battle. Meanwhile, since I had the guns finally set up, Master Chief was going to go and test them out, figure out how they worked and if they were any good or if they would work at all. These were prototype guns, of course, so we're hoping they wouldn't blow up in our fucking hand. And then I went to go select an ammo. Now, I ran into a little bit of a problem, which I'll show you guys. So we found our first group of bandits, and one shot was fired and then he starts running at them. This is not what I wanted at all, and when checking to see how much ammo we had left, we had used the entire clip of ammo, which was very confusing to me. Turns out the mod just has a bug, which is in the description of it. You have to, for the first time using a weapon, you have to put 2 pieces of ammo in at least. I, of course, just download shit without reading, so I wasn't able to figure it quite out. But I was at least able to hit 1 shot on a bandit, seeing it hit for 176 and dropping him on the spot. Felt fucking great. At least I knew it would work. We can do high damage with this from a long distance. Now all that was left was to make the rest of the guns as well as a lot of ammo. I would need multiple stacks of ammo if I wanted to go against the mech leviathan, and Harold was at the end of his training. With 97 dodge and 91 martial arts, Harold was looking more than fine to take on anything in Kenshi. Well, at least most things. You see, he's still pretty weak. I decided to switch out his armor with some lighter armor, which means he won't take as many hits, but he'll be able to give out a lot more, or at least move a lot faster. Now, all that was left was to prepare a group to go out over to the Deadlands to fight the mech leviathan once again. Just to make sure everyone was at top condition, I did want to put in a little bit of strength training, dexterity, defense, and other things. Just that way I would make sure that everybody would be at the top of their peak for this battle. Firstly, Harold would also go to the Deadlands by himself into Black Desert City. I wanted to send him there, that way he'd go into the skeleton shop and buy himself some new limbs. While we do have really nice wheel legs, I did want a better arm for him and maybe another pair of legs that we can switch in and out of for battle and for traveling. We're going against a mech leviathan, so I definitely wanted the best that I could get. I ended up settling on the KLR series of legs. They don't offer any bonuses, but they do offer a lot of health. And with that, I could get everybody back to the base and start to get the weapons equipped. And now that I had more ammo on hand, I wanted to see how fast they shot and what the damage of some of the other weapons would be. So I decided to try out the AKM. Going over to the dust bandits that were fighting between our 2 gates like always, immediately see a great results, taking out both of them within seconds apart. Basically just pinging them from a distance away and knocking them right out. The only person left to get a little bit of training done was Harold. He needed to get his crossbow skills up and such. And since I would have nothing to do for the meantime, I wanted to get Master Chief to run into a bigger group of bandits and see how he could do with a universal machine gun, one of the best guns in the set. It looks really nice, even though Master Chief's texture obviously goes over it a bit, the guns actually look really solid. I like this mod a lot, I definitely recommend it for you guys, and it is a little bit OP though. Doing 400 damage against each bandit, knocking out an entire group like that, was just absolutely fucking mind-blowing. Going out into the wilderness, just a little bit outside of Fort Harold, Master Chief would find a giant group of bandits. and he'd be able to mow them all down without any of them being able to get up close to him to fight him yet. The machine guns just proved to be absolutely insane. I mean, could you imagine going against this bullshit? Master Chief would immediately go back to Harold and return to tell him the news that these guns might just be some dangerous fucking weapons we don't want to toy around with too much. Harold understands this and agrees that we're only going to use them for the mech leviathan. Take him out and then put them in vault. That way we will use them if we ever need that kind of power. If someone like the Holy Nation or United Cities were to get their hands on these guns, oh my god, man, that'd be a fucking bitch. Everybody would just die. I mean, they do so much damage. Now, though, it was time to get Harold's high men all ready. Harold had a nice group of 7 others, including Implore, just the best of Fort Harold. I didn't want to take anyone too weak so they wouldn't die, along with the fact that I didn't really have that much ammo, and I didn't want to wait, like, more days to get this shit done. Alright, we're doing it now. It's going down, boys, okay? It's been like, I don't know, maybe 15 hours of gameplay preparing up to this moment. There's been weeks of my in real life on this game file to get to the mech leviathan, and we get there and he's not fucking there. I found a giant group of bandits, which was pretty cool to see get mowed down, but no mech leviathan, of course, so that was a fucking fluke. At least I do see, though, these guns terrific against those giant hundreds groups of bandits. They do absolutely great against them. Now, in order to get the mech leviathan to spawn, I would have to save, exit my game, and reload. So first, instead of doing that, I wanted to, of course, waste my fucking time. I decided to look around the deadlands, see if he was maybe wandering around. I couldn't fucking find him. So after an import, I could finally see him right in front of my eyes. He was ready to fight. The mech leviathan, the beast that had took down 3 of our friends. While we didn't have Larold with us still, Larold didn't really do too much help in the last one. He just kind of stood around. So with Implord on our side, he would go in first, and then followed by that, everybody else would go and shoot. Now, I forgot though, I only put like 1 or 2 ammo on everyone, and because the import and because they shot the bandits before, when you do an import, they need 2 ammo again to reload. So no one had any ammo. The guns was fucking done. I had to try and fight this thing with melee combat, which proved to be an insane difficulty. Harold gets knocked out in 2 hits. The skeletons do manage to withstand quite a few hits, but the mech leviathan just attacks too fast for them to give any back. So I would have to reload a save, send the group back to Fort Harold. That way we could go and get different guns that we actually had ammo for, as well as wait for more ammo to be fucking crafted. Okay, this is to start. It's the Let's Struggle. It's just the fucking, it's how it goes, boys. We go back to the Deadlands for like the 7th time now. This time when we show up, the mech leviathan is there, ready to meet his fate, ready to meet his fucking makers. Implored, everyone starts going ham, and we're doing great with the guns. The guns are especially fucking helpful against him. Being able to stay away from him for a bit and do a lot of damage against the beast was good. But I didn't have that much ammo. We only took about maybe a quarter of his health down before everybody started running in. And soon after they'd run in, they'd get 2-tapped. So I had to send Harold alone back to Fort Harold. That way we could grab even more ammo. And then go back to the Deadlands with just Harold and meet back up with a group for like the 8th fucking time, man. Oh my god. But the shit I go through in order to slay the mech leviathan, just to show you guys I'm serious about this. Harold's only mission in life at this moment is to take down this thing. That's all he fucking cares about. And until that deed is done, I cannot stop. So with another battle going against the mech leviathan, I would send Implord first over to him and then send the group around. That way they could start shooting at him. This was going really well this time. They were doing a lot of damage. They're doing it really fast because I had switched to submachine guns, and we were actually shooting for quite a good time. The mech leviathan was down to near about half health when most of the party started to go in, and that's when I had to sort of micromanage Harold and the others. Very hard to do so, and even with micromanagement and all my knowledge of Kenshi, going against this beast is so fucking hard. It came down to literally just luck. I needed 80 damage on its head for it to be knocked out, which we could easily do, but it didn't happen. It just kept on going to random limbs till everyone was knocked out. So it'd be round 2, trip 8. This time, we fucking do it. I swear to Okran. The strategy this time was, of course, the same one I had done the previous 4 times. If it doesn't work the first time, just try it until it fucking does. That's my rule. Implord is able to act as a tank in this battle, making sure that all aggro is on him. Meanwhile, everyone else stays from the sidelines and tries to shoot the mech leviathan until they run out of ammo. This time it was going a lot better, honestly. Because of the angle we were at, the mech leviathan kept on getting hit in the head a lot more often. The moment Harold ended up running out of ammo, I decided to send him up without his backpack and try and micromanage him to fight the leviathan. With all of his martial arts, he would do a lot of damage and a lot of hits at once against the beast, but remembering that it only took 2 hits to any of his limbs that were non-robotic in order to either knock him out or potentially kill him, I made sure every time this beast was turning around to face Harold to attack him, I would make sure Harold would run back, and then run over to Leviathan once he's aggroed against someone else, and then start attacking again. Battle was going well, and with the Leviathan near 100 health. With over half of the group knocked out though, the mech Leviathan was down to 110 health on its head. Just a few more shots from any of the people, and the mech Leviathan would be slayed. Harold and half of his party would end up falling, but B02, Master Chief, and Implord would hold in, fighting the mech Leviathan, taking him all the way down to -1 health on his head, finally knocking out the beast. Even though it wasn't dead yet and it could still reboot at any moment, it was just nice seeing that thing finally flail on the ground. It was like the most satisfying shit I felt in this game. Checking the mech Leviathan, there's an AI core, a mech Leviathan pearl, and the mech Leviathan core. All of this worth well over 200k in loot, so it was a great haul. And along with that, the mech Leviathan was finally dead, away from the save file. The group could finally leave the Deadlands, knowing that the mech Leviathan was dead. Everything Harold had done technically did lead to that moment and the moments coming forward. But the adventure would not be over just yet. As you guys know, I'm fucking insane with this shit now, and there's a lot left for us to do in Kenshi, as well as many dreams that Harold wants to pursue. So after he finishes up his current real dream, trying to rest up from the mech Leviathan fight, we're gonna go down through Royal Valley into Cheater's Run. I've only gone down to Royal Valley once, that was very early on in this series, and then I've never been to Cheater's Run. So, sounds like a good spot to go. I've sort of just picked a random spot on the map and figured we might as well clear the bottom half before we start to work to the top. I did make sure all the weapons are back in the gun cabinet, and then we re-equipped our normal weapons. We do not want anyone getting these fucking guns, okay? That'd be fucking horrible. But with the power of some of Harold's strongest men and a few more skeletons added with Implord, we have more than enough to go into Cheater's Run, at least I believe. Going into the bone fields first, we need to cross there in order to get into the Royal Valley. Now, this was pretty nostalgic, it wasn't too much, but just in front of here was where we obtained Implord. We ended up getting attacked by a bunch of beak things, and then Harold and a group lured them back over to there. What an excellent time. Just a little flash of nostalgia I wanted to share with you guys. And to top it all off, we ended up running into a giant group of beak things just a moment later. Now, before in the series, this would have been fucking death, for sure, if we went against this fight. But, at the current state that Harold and the group are at, they had no problem taking out every single beak thing and knocking them out. There is a new beast within the bone fields, though. This one is way stronger than the normal beak things. Meet the 7-headed beast of Kenshi, the Hydra. With way higher stats than the normal beak things, this Hydra is insane. It has a huge aggro radius and roams the bone fields, just taking out groups of travelers. Now, Harold would do a little bit of his magic and put an alternate spell realm. I don't know, I just saved the game and reloaded. To test how strong was the Hydra. I mean, Implord's one of the strongest things in Kenshi, but the Hydra is even stronger than Implord. The Hydra is able to hit about twice as fast, as well as just hitting a lot at once, just like Implord. With all of his heads though, increased dexterity and increased health, this beast might just be harder than the mech Leviathan. So, I would reload, and the group would continue on their way down to Cheater's Run. Once entering Royal Valley, this is the first time I've been in here and I can actually sort of explore without getting my ass beat. I quickly remembered that the Sovereign Hive are down here. This was because, well, we ran into a group of them, so I put 2 and 2 together, I figured it out, and with that, I decided to keep on going forward. I mean, what's the worst? The Sovereign Hive weren't too strong against us, especially Implord. He could kill just about any of them within one hit, so taking out these groups was very little trouble to Harold and his highmen. But the thing standing in their way on the path was a hive village. Now, I did think, if it's peaceful, I want to attack it, but of course, the moment we got anywhere near it, they all wanted to swarm and attack. So, it was Harold's Highmen versus the Hive Village. We hadn't even got to Cheater's Run yet, and we're already getting into a full-on fucking city barrage, basically. But in order to seize the hive, we have to kill all of them. It's not too hard to do, really. At least compared to humans and other things, hives die a lot easier, it seems, because of their lower limbs. Harold and his group were able to kill quite a few of them, and leave a lot of them with just no legs or arms. A pretty sad fate for them. They didn't even have any loot here for us to take too, so that was a big fuck over. All we had essentially done is sent Snub flying into Space Jam mode, and everyone else was just pretty fucking injured. But on a bright side, I mean, we could cross through Royal Valley without getting hurt. Now I noticed though, Implord was already taken down from this battle. I guess because they all swarmed up on Implord and he's been hurt from the other battle, his blood level went below 0. So I would have to carry Implord with the group around the next hive village, which seemed to be their main one. Now I saw all the hives were mentioning something about a king. When I saw who the king was, I was fucking dumbfounded. The king is actually a crimper, one of the strongest monsters in Kenshi. Robotic, I guess, but it seems that the Sovereign Hive actually follow and look up to him instead of a hive. Very interesting, and I didn't know that, but for the moment, Harold needs to get out of a Royal Valley and into Cheater's Run, but he does put that on his notes in his head. The Sovereign Hive are all over the south. Holy shit, Croc. You would think everybody would be able to know that. My god. You know what else is going down south? This series. Ha! And after getting to the edge of a Royal Valley, I saw the mountains that we have to climb down to in order to get to Cheater's Run. I actually really like the design of this sort of mountain layout. You see there's sort of like a road built into the mountain that looks kind of man-made. I like it a lot. It doesn't look safe at all. It looks fucking terrifying to walk across, you know? If you slip, you're basically falling down that. And if anyone's carrying you, well, you just gotta hope to God you don't just end up flinging off because they hit a rock or something. But it is manageable to get all the way to the bottom of the hill. And with that, we were now in Cheater's Run. We were on the coast of Kenshi, near the bottom. It only took a couple seconds for us to already discover a brand new outpost to go check out. So I was looking forward. Fucking police were all up in it. This happens with a few of them. And the police units are kind of strong, you know, with a lot of them there. They are a bitch to take out, but it's not too bad. We did have Snub on our side, as well as all the skeletons, which is plenty enough to take out the police, you know. Fuck the police. I'll say that. Fuck the police. Yeah, let's go, let's go. But the police don't have shit on Harold's group, not the Hair Young Empire. Harold and the group would go on to continue to take out all the police units, followed by a large group of security spiders, 2 of them coming from 2 different sides, swarming Harold's high men. This was not looking good, and I knew that I would have to try and take them out. Now, they kind of just like storm-peed through everyone. Like, they're very hard to attack. They attack very fast. It's hard to block them. So, essentially, I would hope that they would all swarm Implord, and then he would be able to attack them in mass groups. And this did work. But the problem is that there were more security spiders on the way. Another wave of them from 2 different sides yet again. So I started to use Implord sort of like that bowling ball mini game from Plants vs. Zombies, you know? That's what this reminded me of, okay? I essentially had to take out the most amount of security spiders with Implord on every shot. But the downfall was Implord would go down within a matter of seconds because of his blood going below 0. And the security spiders are very hard for everyone to deal with. They're sort of just everywhere at this point, and seeing as they just kept on spawning in and coming from both sides in fucking stupid groups. This shit was absolutely absurd. It was at a point where just everybody was near about 4 health. Everybody was pretty close to getting knocked out. I tried to get Harold back into the building to see if it had any loot. It didn't have fuck all. The other building was empty as well. The outpost, all it had was just people to fight. It's fucking miserable, man. This place sucked ass. There's so many security spiders here. This shit would have exploded my last computer. And it's not like they stopped. They don't stop. The game just kept on sending them. It was actually mind-fucking me at this point. Just from nowhere, too. They're coming out of the fucking blue. Like, behind trees and shit. Absolutely absurd. I don't know how many security spiders were here, but I'm guessing plus hundreds. It wasn't all bad, though. B02 and a few other of the skeletons were holding up quite fine against the security spiders. And seeing as it was just free toughness and defense experience, I didn't have too much of a problem with it. The only problem was even though they were knocked out, they would be rebooting, so I decided to send everyone inside of that empty building and make some use out of it. We'd use that place to heal up, and then once going out of it, I could go pick up the rest of the people that were knocked out, and then make our way out of this place. Now I wanted to go to the right side of Cheater's Run first, check out that spot, see if there's anything down there. The outpost was pretty disappointing, to be honest, but what can you really do? Harold's still on a search for more ancient science books, and just more importantly, to find out what this place is about. While Snub pretends to be one of those ferret wheels. It's a fucking animal, bro. Harold plans where he might be able to find some more ancient science books. Now, there's more Thrasher units down in this area as well, and we ended up finding a nice ruin that was guarded by some. So taking out the Thrasher unit first by bonk him on the head with Snub, the group would be able to pursue forward into the nice ruin. Not before I didn't notice. I was a little bit clunky and I forgot security spiders just come out of a fucking water apparently. Like, what the fuck is that, man? This is bullshit. The whole group just get completely fucked by them. There wasn't anything we could really do at this point. I mean, we could block some hits and just get some defense experience, but this was going to take too fucking long. The whole party was just about party wiped as well, and at that point I just decided it'd be better to reload the save and try and go around the water. We'll go and stick more to the hill, stay away from the water so fucking security spiders don't come out of it. Like, what kind of strategy is that? Why do I have to make this strategy, man? This shit's fucked. Then, going into the first building, there's skin bandits in here. Just skin bandits and a bunch of fucking trash, dude. Rubble. Like, fuck all. I can't make any use of it, and when checking our map, it says horrible ruin now. What a fucking prank. This the mission could not be over, though. We still had to go to the other side of Cheater's Run, and there possibly could be something else. Now, we were fast enough to just walk by all the security spider groups, which I would do, as they're just in stupid numbers, man. I'd rather put a fucking thumbtack into the fucking ball part of my ball sack, dude. Fuck that. The shit was absurd, to say the least. And then I ended up finding a fishing village. This place had a boat in it, pretty cool. That's added from the boat mod I got on Steam. Now, it adds boats. I'm pretty sure the boat needs to be in water first. I tried to figure it out by recruiting him and then getting Harold to pick him up and go into the water. That didn't work. I got the boat to pick up Harold and then try and dock off the dirt into the water. That didn't work at all either. And once the boat started to get fucked up, I had to go back to shore, and I decided just to abandon that mission. We'll focus on boats and hoes another day. Right now, we got massive groups of security spiders coming to us because we hung out here for more than 3 seconds. So, it was time for Imp Lord to go off, Plants vs. Zombies mode, and he would fall pretty fast though. And seeing as everyone was already injured as well, I need to take off backpacks in order to really do the best that I could in this battle. It was going to be fucking insane to take out all of them, but when Imp Lord would wake back up, he'd be able to take out a few groups, get knocked back out, get back up soon, do it all over again. So the process was just hours of this nonsense. At a certain point, there's so many security spiders trying to attack at once, they're just like making a bully circle around you, you know? They're just pushing you around in it, like you can't do anything. Being able to use Kenshi's physics to my advantage for once. I pushed the skeletons into the wall to separate some of them, and then Snub would be able to do great work against them. Basically one-tapping a lot of them, so as well as Harold's high men all doing quite fine. It wasn't looking too bad. I mean, we were really fucking injured, but on the bright side, we did knock out another massive group of security spiders. They also do just keep on walking in from out of nowhere, as well as rebooting, so that was also a pain to deal with. But soon by nightfall, most of them would be dead and it wouldn't be too much of a problem left. All we needed to do was heal up and we continue to go back on the road. Now, I would leave the boat here. I dismissed him and took him out of a party. We'll have a Boats and Hose special one day. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to keep up to tune with that bitch. But now, Harold has explored Cheater's Run, and it's time for him to go back to Fort Harold. The finds in Cheater's Run wasn't that great. I mean, we got a lot of training experience, and that was about it. Fuck all. I could have looted all the security spiders, but I mean, we were already at a point where we have so much money, and we're already strong enough to basically fight or kill anything and get anything we want for the most part. I wasn't gonna pick up 3 to 5k items all day. So making it back into the bone fields, the group would have to go through there to get back into Fort Harold. Not too hard though, and we didn't end up running into any attacks during this, so that was really nice. It's a lot different than Cheater's Run. Fucking trash-ass place. There's still one more thing that Harold wants to do. Exploring the ominous place. This was a mysterious place, the only place that looked like it had sort of a city symbol that was in the ashlands. And it was the only place that Harold had yet to explore in ashlands. Checking our research, we still have no ancient science books, which isn't good. I really want to get some more advanced stuff researched soon, like the healing chambers, better weapon grades, etc. Like, we do have lots of AI cores and other stuff just no ancient science books. We used all of them on other shit already. So in the meantime, I would get Harold to put Implord in a bed to try and regen his blood a little bit faster than normal, and then I would wait it out a couple days, just until the group was ready to go and fight. The Ashlands is a very dangerous place. There's lots of skeleton legion and security spiders, all my fucking favorite. As well as first getting through Grey Shelf, we'd have to get through whatever Selvern Hive groups decide to come at us. Now, they aren't too much of a difficulty to take out, but they will be taken out completely soon, I promise that. Along with Sonorous Dark, it's a pretty shitty place as well, full of skin bandits, just no good scum. One day, Harold will be able to purify the entire land of whatever evil he sees, but in the meantime, he must go to the Ashlands and find out what this place is. Rumors have it that a strong warrior might live there, and if so, he's got his backup weapon just in case. Implord. Entering my favorite place in Kenshi, the Ashlands. It's really cool to explore here. There's lots of floating robots. The skeleton legion groups are absolutely massive, and they're very strong as well. Traveling the Ashlands is very difficult, but luckily within a few moments, we already found a wildlife cleanser unit that we could kill for an AI core. This would be a pretty good haul. They are really hard to take out, but I noticed a nomad group ended up fighting it with their own cleanser unit. What a treat. So I didn't have to worry about taking out the cleanser unit on my own or wasting any of our health. So Harold and his group could just run right up and loot the cleanser unit while the nomads just went away. What's not really cool is that Implord's pathfinding in the Ashlands is fucking abysmal. This shit is horrid. Controlling Implord in here is worse than controlling Larold anywhere. So I would just have the group pick him up and try and travel with him. Now, when trying to get by, I noticed like 3 Skeleton Legion groups, then a Security Spider, more Skeleton Legion. The shit's looking like a fucking RTS game. So I wasn't going to have our group of 10 fight all of them, of course, making sure to strategically wait for each group to sort of walk by or see what they're doing. It was nighttime, so they couldn't really see us, and unless we got really close range or aggroed some of them, none of them would really come up to fight, at least right away. Able to get through, we were on the outside of Ashlands. I thought this would be how you would get to the ominous place, but it's not. You can see it from there, but there's no way to get up that hill. I had went the wrong way, I assume, so I decided to go back around and try and look at the map closer and see if maybe there's a hill or something I missed that I need to get up. And of course there was. It's just up front there, you can see in the little lines of the map. And I was able to figure out basically where the hill starts, and we were able to climb that so that we could get up to this ominous place. Now, going forward, there's still Skeleton Legion and Security Spiders we have to go through. And with a group of Security Spiders just in the entrance of where we needed to go to, I would have a group clear them out, which ended up not being too much of a hassle. We still had plenty of health on us, as well as the group was now making their first steps into the ominous place, seeing 2 giant domes before them. Not sure exactly what this will withhold. Hopefully some weapons, but more hopefully some actual ancient science books and research would be really nice. At the same time, a very strong warrior is said to live here, so Harold makes sure that he's on guard and at his best. Going into the first building, there's a bunch of storm thralls in there who immediately target and aggro you. Now, there was a lot of them in here. I'd say close to probably about 100. I could see more than probably 50 on the first floor. And once Implord ended up getting dropped, having him try to attack spawned him up to the second floor, which had even more of them. And then I could see some coming down from the third floor. The amount of Stormthrow skeletons there were in here, it was fucking insane. It was a lot of fun though. Frames were going down by mad. B02 and the others were getting mad defense experience, as well as knocking out some of the skeletons, as their attacks are really fucking strong at this point. Soon, the battle would look like it was starting to just be on our side. A lot more of the skeletons were being knocked out, and not much of our group was being knocked out. We were already really injured, but we were able to dodge most attacks. Now, when going and checking this place though, I mean, I found an AI core, but that was about it. And with the frames being so low, I decided to do an import. What a terrible idea. All this did was respawn all of the skeletons back to where they were. So they were all in the ruins again. Not good. So I had to take out the group for a second time without healing. Surprisingly though, we managed to do it. It would have been a lot harder, I think, without Implord and Harold at his top peak condition that he is right now. But at least we were able to get through it and check everything in the building. Fuck all though, like I said, just tools and rubble. And finally, checking on the 3rd floor, I would find 2 energy crystals and an AI core, as well as an ancient science book, which was nice, but I mean, it was only 1. What the fuck do you do with 1 ancient science book? Can't even research the part between my balls and asshole with that, dude. Fuck. But moving forward, the group was finally about to go into Cat-Lon's den, but there was still one more dome, so there was still a little bit of hope in Harold's group's eyes. On the other side, they had not found an incredibly strong warrior yet, so Harold wanted to go in alone to this one just to make sure that it was either empty or there was something in it. With Harold's high men lined up at the gates, he would enter the front of the dome, looking very gracefully, and finally, once entering, seeing that it was none other than Kenshi's most feared skeleton, the one you hear in every story, Cat-Lon. Sitting in his throne alone, he begins to talk. Has my judgment come so soon? I had to throw them all. Traitors siding with the humans. Treason. Now we are nothing. What was the point of it all? Have you tried looking after humans? They're monsters. Harold laughs to himself as he agrees and knows the exact struggle. As they grow in number, so is their capacity for evil, and they don't even notice as they do it. Come, my mavericks! And with that, Cat-Lon unleashes an attack on Harold. The group from the outside immediately rushes in, but from Cat-Lon's speech, Harold is stunned and ends up taking 2 shots to his head. An incredibly disrespectful move from Cat-Lon, seen as Harold took off his helmet specifically to talk to Cat-Lon in the eyes. Unfortunately, though, for Cat-Lon, it wasn't over, as Harold has brought his best men along with him. Some of the finest skeletons Kenshi has to offer, along with Lord Inaba. They had more than enough power, strength, and will to corner Cat-Lon into his own throne and bully him. They would only do a few damage per attack, but the attacks would start to add up, and soon enough Cat-Lon would be at a low state and fall down to the skeletons and Harold's high men. We had done it. We could loot Cat-Lon now. He had some very nice armor on him, as well as a top tier falling sun, and enough cats to finally get us to 1 mil total cats. Woohoo! I've never had 1 mil total cats in the inventory at a time. I've always spent it, so this was very cool to see. Hell yeah. Along with armor, the weapon, and we now have Mad Cat-Lon knocked out in front of us. I of course decided to pick him up and repair him. I'm going to decide if I want to recruit him or what it will affect the world. But with that done, Harold starts to wake up asking if they made it. And they did. He was able to look at his friends and see that they had taken down Cat-Lon after he was knocked out. He would have loved to help, but Cat-Lon had a nice 2 cheap blows on Harold, so the group understood. It was time to loot though. With plenty of nice weapons around here, along with a new General Cyborg arm, which unfortunately is for the left arm, so I'll have to give it to someone else. Harold already has one. We would also find a few AI cores and some other loot here, but there wasn't any ancient science books, just the one from the other building. Wow, I could say disappointing. We did find Cat-Lon. I didn't go into this knowing Cat-Lon was here, neither did Harold, so finally meeting the legend himself was very fun. This place is now wiped out though, and all that's left is for Harold and his group to make it back to Fort Harold and try and possibly recruit the Mad Cat-Lon. With that though, it brings us to the end of the episode. I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode of the Ken. Myself and Harold had a blast again, and I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for all the support as well. The channel's been doing amazing in my eyes. We're at like 1,300 subs, and the amount of you that are interacting and loving the series is really great. I can't wait to share some more adventures with Harold and all of you guys, but until then, make sure to take it easy, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.